Bernstein. I am the team lead. This is Genevieve Conley, our producer, Boris Frangudis, who's our lead engineer, and Andy Goldstein is our senior game designer. And we're here to talk to you about social clues, learning social cues to solve the clues. Is this too loud? Okay, so what is it? It's a role-playing puzzle adventure game for children with autism and developmental disabilities, teaching pragmatics and social skills. Some quick notes on autism here. 1 in 88 children is autistic. They're diagnosed with autism. And that's a growing statistic, so this is definitely a population we want to serve. But what I really want to highlight in terms of the behaviors they exhibit is impaired social interaction. So they have difficulties communicating. But most have an affinity for technology and video games. So what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to build a game that's got a dual purpose, both gaming and learning. Okay, so for every game component, there is a corresponding learning component. So let's say in the case of player movement, that's exploration. In the case of dialogue trees, that's learning conversation. Puzzles is all about problem solving. Okay, so what we really envision here is kind of a mix between Brain Age and Monkey Island. Odd combination, what do I mean? Okay, so Brain Age are these repetitive tasks that Brain Age never claims to make you a rocket scientist. It's not going to make you brilliant, but the more repetitive, the more you play these things, the more repetitive you do these simple problems, the more top of mind it is, and it strengthens that muscle so that you can do these things better. Meanwhile, Monkey Island is all an interactive narrative, right? It's a story that's driven by dialogue trees and interactions. So this is really going to combine the best of both of those, and we're going to marry therapy and entertainment. Okay, so in terms of platform, we're going to build this on iOS, so it's going to be a mobile device that then can be ported to Android, PCs, and web browsers. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use Unity, and that's because of the versatility here. Unity is both 2D, it allows us to create both 2D or 3D games. Right now we're working on a 2.5D style, but then ultimately we can port to computers and web browsers as well. So let's talk story. Let's get to that narrative I was saying that was so gripping it's going to keep you playing. Okay, so this is all about the Mum family. Okay, and the Mum family, maybe not too dissimilar from some you know, when they get home from work and school, all they do is sit there and just watch TV, and they're just surfing the web, right? But they never talk to each other, they never communicate. And so what happens is one day while watching the TV, they hear a loud crash, go running upstairs and find out all the kids' toys have been stolen. They're gone. Okay, and so now the kids need to explore the city, speak with the townspeople, and recover their toys to ultimately solve the mystery, but more importantly, learn the power of communication. So who are our players? Well, they're Pete and Kate, who find out that their full names are actually participate and communicate. As these are the two behaviors we really want to focus on and work with children with autism, right? Because this are the things that they need to continue to strengthen. Our game world is going to be highly stylized, bright colors, simple cartoony characters, and an isometric view. And this is all geared towards this population because we need to make sure everything's focused, that they know where to look, what to do, and stay interested. So all choice based on our player. Level details, each level will be self-contained. So we're talking a single room, right, where you can see everything at one time, 5 interactive characters per level, 7 to 10 minutes to complete. And in terms of scope of the project for advanced games, we're looking at just building 3 levels. So we want a tutorial, and we want kind of 2 major levels you play through. And the goal in each is the same, which is find the single lost toy in each level. Our puzzle elements, as I mentioned before, are all learning components, but things like reading facial expressions, problem solving, sequencing, etc. And rather than just try and visualize here, we thought we'd show you some screenshots we put together of gameplay in action. So here, we've got Pete, right? And this entire room, you can see everything, we know exactly where stuff is, who we can interact with, but even more so, every element, every prop, desk, cabinets, drawers, whatever, you can interact with those, okay? And I'm going to talk to the HUD real quick, but over here is your clue pad, and every time you learn a clue, it's going to be stored here. This here is actually Pete's pocket. It's a tray that comes up and down, and when you find items or people give you things, each one of those will be stored in your pocket, and later you can use them with different characters, solve puzzles. And by far my favorite here on the right, this is the Mum family's parrot, whose name is Sherlock, and is actually the only character in the Mum family who knows how to talk to people. So this character is your helping guide, right? That whenever you need a hint or something, you tap on Sherlock, he'll fly out, show you maybe where to go, what to do. Okay, so you can draw a line, and that's going to move your character to where you want him to go. And as you interact with this world, what we really want you to do is interact with people, because you can't find the toy unless you talk to people and understand maybe what they know about each environment. So we go over and talk to Audrey, she glows, we can tap on her, and now first thing we need to do is figure out, okay, emotional awareness, how does she feel? So we're gonna tap on upset, right? We know she's not feeling well. And then what happens is, okay, now dialogue trees. What should we choose as a conversation starter? How do we talk to her? The first thing we say is, have you seen my toy train? Well, maybe not, because she's not feeling particularly well. So maybe better to start with, why are you crying? And as you navigate through these conversations, these dialogue trees, ultimately what happens is that they'll lead you on quests and puzzles and tasks. And in this case, she directed you over to maybe this cabinet where you need to solve the puzzle and figure out, how do I open this? How do I find what's inside? But the entire game is a game first. We're talking about building like a Zelda, right? Something that's a role-playing game, but lots of puzzles, lots of tasks, all driven by interacting and communicating. What I think is most important is our post-level diagnostic, real-time performance feedback. So when you play Angry Birds and you're sitting there flinging birds, right? Great, you get a star rating 1 to 3 based on just how well you did. But what if you got instead a rating of 1 to 5 and it told you how well you did in terms of dexterity, how well you did in terms of aim, etc. This game will do that. So what happens is it tells you how did you do on recollection, comprehension, emotional awareness. Better yet is you know, okay, I'm emotionally aware, but I'm not doing so well about responding appropriately. Well, ideally the game will actually tailor itself to the player and make future puzzles focus more on the areas that they need to work on. Okay, so what's the rationale behind the game? It's intervention based on behavior modeling. I want to stress and make very clear that no intervention or treatment can cure autism. We're not looking to cure autism, we're looking to model behaviors, pardon me, we're looking to amend behaviors here by modeling and using positive reinforcement. Okay, so what that means is that first thing you would do with children with autism is you would show them, here's the appropriate behavior, this is what you want to do, and then they follow suit and do the same thing. So it's really role-playing, it's modeling, and what better way to teach that than by using a role-playing game, right? So in this case, I've got some case studies up here, but each one of these are expert thinkers in the world of autism, and each one of them has shown how modeling and role-playing is the key to amending behaviors. Why build it? Well, it's because it's all about early intervention. The sooner you expose kids to these therapies, the better their behavior over time and the more they learn what to do. And what better way to get early intervention than through a video game that they're going to get hooked on and want to play. And also it supplements therapy. I just want to focus on this note here, but it's all about the fun factor. We want to build a game that's as fun to play as any other role-playing game, right? Any other adventure game, but has behind it all the therapy and science. Our audience, we mentioned, were students with autism, as well as developmentally delayed students, but it's also about any kid ages 4 to 10, because all children in that age range are developing their social interaction. And so we want to build a social coach, where we can say to the kids, hey, no, don't eat that, that's off the floor. Don't talk to someone that way, it's not appropriate. So we've got a wide range of players, and our consumers would be therapists, parents, schools. People forget that parents often have, it's very taxing to take care of an autistic student, so this would help supplement their work at home. So let's talk team. Okay, so the current team, you met me, Jeremy Bernstein, team lead. I'm an MBA candidate, kind of fish out of water here, but I come from a background in a production team at Disney Animation, and then went on to work for an advertising agency. Really my role is to just direct really tremendous talent, and so I happen to have that talent. I'm so excited. I want them just quickly to speak about who they are, what they do. But
Hi, I'm Genevieve Conley. I came from just under 2 years of industry experience working on kids and family games, most recently the Wreck-It Ralph game. And I'm now working in the Game Innovation Lab on a suite of products called Collegeology, and those are educational games, and my expertise there is on user research. So helping to evaluate how those games are effective in achieving their educational goals.
Hello, I'm Faraz Rangwadis. I'm graduating with a master's degree in CS Games this semester and starting my PhD fall with focus on games in health. The last year I've been working with Maria Dinagozis, which is our faculty mentor, and we've been working with similar games, so that's a great experience I had, which will hopefully help in this process.
And Andy Goldstein, who, for the lack of time.
Hi, I'm Andrew Goldstein. I have 3 published titles to my name, especially in puzzle design, and I'm also one of the 3 designers on the Outer Wilds team currently.
Okay, with 30 seconds real quick, what I want to highlight here is we've got David Forth, who's a 16-year animation veteran as our art director, so we've got fantastic talent. We've also got Mary This, who's the director of the Creative Media and Big Health Center. She's ecstatic to be on this project. as well as creative consultants, screenwriters, our other team members here, but we really do want to grow this team. We need a few more designers, a few more engineers, and a few more artists. So with that, this is Social Clues, social learning through interactive games, and I want to say, closing note here is we're doing more than just changing games. You've seen a number of great titles already, you'll see more today, all fantastic, but this isn't just about changing games, this is about changing the way we learn. So I thank you for your time, and that's Social Clues.
How big is the overall USC team in the end?
USC team currently is 10 students enrolled. We have a team that's currently about 14 strong, and we're trying to go closer to 20 to 25. So, yes.
Yeah, so I find this really interesting because there's actually a lot of open research problems here that are still being addressed in the research community. For example, user modeling. How are you able to interpret what they're thinking? How do you model them to a good fidelity? Anyways, you're getting what I'm saying, right? How do you validate what your model is doing? Like your games, right? How do you know that they reflect, an autistic child's needs, for example?
So, sorry, did you have more?
I mean, there's probably, I can just off the top of my head, about 5 or 6 open research problems here, which makes this very, very challenging.
Sure. At the core of all curriculum for children with autism is this notion of modeling, and what it is you really want to take these real-world environments, real-world interactions, and model those. Right now, those are all being done with cards. And I kid you not, it's a card.
Well, aside from how you're going to do it, my concern is that this is a notoriously difficult problem that people are still trying to figure out. And what kind of background, what kind of experience, I saw one mentor, but I want to know if there's somebody, another expert, for example.
Sure. No, I'll take it quick and then we'll toss it to you. But the first bringing us back to the team is we have Karen Ockren, who's the visionary behind the pedagogy of this, and she's a speech pathologist who has a lot of experience working with children on the spectrum. So she's going to be helping with this, and we also have interest from the Keck School of Medicine.
Yeah, 2 people there that work in this speech pathology department who are really interested in maybe testing this and using it, right there in their clinic. So.
And then the final portion of that is that we'll be working. I have some experience in user research, and we'll be growing that out. But we want to build this out into user tests with students both on the spectrum and off of it, students who have attention deficit, and that's where we'll start our user research.
Have you built computational models for that?
Not yet, but that's something we're going to be working on over the summer.
I mean, that's one of the really hard things to do.
We have a structure in place, but it's really like brain age. It's not something where you're going to get concrete feedback that says, hey, here, your frontal lobe is this much bigger, right? But what we will do is here's areas that we're focusing on, let's say 10 core buckets of social interaction, and for each interaction in the game, we're going to rank them and we'll show you how you're doing compared to your total possible.
Because I think this is a really important question, I'm going to say one more thing, which is that our goal is not to build out a pre-imposed test protocol to evaluate whether this is making real world changes long term. That's a much bigger project than something that would need to be done in cooperation with something like the Keck School of Medicine or an educational school. Instead, what we're trying to do is do this as a game. We want to get feedback to the students, and it is more like brain engagement.
Let's go on to the next question, please.
Sure. Hey, I know pretty well, and I have a lot of respect for you guys, and I understand why parents would want this. I understand why researchers would want this. Nothing that you showed me gives me any inkling of why someone would want to play this. I mean, you said it was like Zelda, but it's not like Zelda. You said it was an RPG, but it's definitely not an RPG. So, can you tell me more about what is compelling about this from a game design standpoint?
Sure. Remember that our population has an affinity. They want to play these games. They want to solve. They want to complete the puzzles.
But
right?
there's millions of games out there.
True. I think that the core here is that none are driven around communication, right? I mean, many are. What we're doing is we're using, let's say, the new Telltale games, right? The Walking Dead, not at all the tone of this game, but that kind of story-driven narrative is something that people do want to finish, right? They do want to play all the way through. And what we do is, and not to exploit our player, but at the beginning of the game, you'd be given a selection of different items. You can choose what your interest is, kind of what their fixation would be, and that becomes what all the toys are that you're trying to collect and play for, right? So specifically with our audience, we have kind of a unique hook that says, hey, here's why you want to play, because you want to collect all of these, right? In terms of the gameplay itself, I would argue it's kind of like a Zelda. It's not an action RPG, but it is an RPG in that you have to navigate through the room. It's kind of like a point and click, but a little more of a third-person perspective, and the ability to really interact in the environment and see what your character does depending on what he touches, who he talks to.
I see what you're saying, but
I think
yeah,
what
please.
I definitely you're getting at is that it's not exactly a game, but it's the point is it's addressing a problem, and that if you look at this through the needs of the parents who are trying to deal with this is supposed to be a tool, and it's supposed to allow these parents to try and help the problem that they're facing, and there isn't anything there to do that that's like this.
Right, I completely agree with that. I think that, regardless of what, I understand why the parents would want the student to play it. I still don't see a compelling reason for the kid to play it versus all the other games that they're.
Are you asking, is the question about the gameplay, like you don't see the communication with the play?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think one of that was, we actually talked about this, I think they're great covered, but about the puzzle solving and how that integrates into the gameplay and how it drives it.
Right, it's all part and parcel where if you want to finish the level, you need to communicate, right? Forgive me if I'm not bringing up what we talked before, but really what it's about is that traditionally in our lives, if we find the solution to something and we know exactly how to get it the quickest way around, we're going to do that, right? And so students with autism may do the same thing, but it's more like, no, you can't skirt around people who you need to communicate with, right? So in order to kind of unlock those puzzles or solve them, you need to find the clues, which is all about talking to people, then you get the information you need. Is this still?
No, I
Okay, you get the game idea.
It's just
I would
not
say
enough.
this,
Yeah.
not that it's a compelling reason, but the vast majority of current apps and games available for this population or for students that are developmental delayed are just card games that have been transferred over and it's a digital version. I think I said that earlier. And this is about, no, we want to build a game that's actually a game first. And when given the options, right, the student will definitely choose the game that's actually far more interactive and fun, and the parent actually will be so glad to let them play that and say, hey, this is a really mindful interaction instead of just a distraction.
Sure, okay, yeah.
That's something I'm back for.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.